Hi there everyone, my name is Ray, and welcome to Within the MIDI. This is a series where we'll be doing deep dives into custom MIDI music from Doom WADs to figure out what makes them sound great and why people love them so much. We're looking at key signature, time signature, tempo, instruments, software inputs, all kinds of musical elements that make up the pieces we'll be listening to in this ongoing series here. Now, for the record, we're exploring original music used in WADs written by members of the Doom community, not music from other video games or any other sources outside of Doom. So, for example, Map 8 from Scythe 2 uses a track pulled from a 1993 SNES game called Illusion of Gaia, so that track is off the table, as is music from games like Duke Nukem 3D, Blood, Heretic, Descent, etc. This is Doom community music only right here. Anyway, on to the main event. I've thought a ton about what MIDI we should listen to first, and eventually I concluded there'd be no better track to kick off this series than Hate Machine by James Paddock. Even if you're not overly familiar with Doom in general, chances are you probably have heard Hate Machine, or at least know of it. It plays in the very first level of Sigil, John Romero's 2019 add-on episode for Ultimate Doom, and at this point it's so associated with Sigil the two are practically inseparable, but more recently it has appeared in the WADs Pineapple Under the Sea 13, Solar Struggle, and Machete, to name a few. Not many people know this, but Hate Machine was not written specifically for Sigil, and Sigil is not the first WAD to use it. From what I gathered on Doom Wiki, its earliest appearance was in 2015 in a mod called Skull Dash. So this track, it's been around for a while, and it's really got some interesting history. I was really surprised when I found all that out recently. With that, let's go ahead and listen to it. Naturally, we'll just start off from the beginning and go section by section. So here we go. So right away, this thing just comes out of the gate swinging, and you know just from those first 7 notes that this track is just going to drive it all the way through. It immediately sets the tone for any map that it's in. If we look at the notation on the staff in a MIDI program like this, I've just got Anvil Studio opened up here, we can see right over here we're in the key of C minor with these 3 flats, a 4/4 time. And up here, we've got quarter note equals 132 tempo. That's basically the speed of the piece. It's 132 beats per minute. And also, we can already hear a few instruments at play here. The overdriven guitar, we've got the electric bass played with a pick, and we've also got the drums. And then there's this other one, this sawtooth here that kind of serves as a backing for the bass guitar and the overdriven guitar that sort of plays alongside both of those. And there's a few nuances in there as well to keep things interesting. I should mention the guitar, bass, and sawtooth, as it's called, lead 2 is it's named in the MIDI instrument library. They're all playing, as I said, almost the same part here. And what that sounds like, if we bring up the bass guitar here, what that sounds like is basically something like this. It goes, it's played pretty quickly in the MIDI itself, so I'm going to play it a little bit slower here. I think it sounds something like this. That was the sawtooth part, of course, with those extra little notes in there. The bass guitar is pretty much identical. it's basically that through this whole first part here. And during this opening section, it's just bass and ride cymbal for a bit, and then more starts coming in with the sawtooth followed by the drums. And there's even a choir that starts in the background as well. So all of this builds up to the chorus, which is where the guitar kind of takes over as the primary instrument and starts doing its own thing. So let's go ahead and have a listen to that. There's the choir. Nice. So musically, it's pretty straightforward. The guitar and the bass are playing in unison, and that sounds something a bit like this. Apart from one tiny bit of harmonizing, there's no other noticeable deviation. The chord progression is easy to follow as well. It's all just natural root, third, and fifth chords, I believe is the term. Not really any dissonance or anything like that. And you can hear that best with the choir and the strings played together. Yeah, so these two instruments have pretty much the same part, just with the strings pitched an octave higher above the chorus, or the choir rather. Yep, and it's very simple chord progressions. It's C minor, G, and then F minor. It started at that measure that we were playing, but something interesting happens right in here, right in this area here. There's this accidental right here, this G flat. This note comes in unexpectedly, and it creates a kind of dissonance that we didn't hear previously up to this point, and that sort of carries us into the next section. Yeah, it sounds off somehow. The note isn't in the C minor key, so it doesn't sound natural being there, but that's what makes the transition so good. But anyhow, moving on. So obviously right here, of course, we have the guitar solo, which is being played through the distortion guitar this time, and that has a slightly different sound to it from the overdriven guitar. It sounds a little cleaner than overdriven that we heard earlier, which is good if you're composing and you want to make notes stand out a little bit more in a solo, for instance, like this. Something really cool that I want to point out here is a subtle trick you can do to make instruments sound like they echo in a MIDI. And I've seen this in quite a few tracks. Jimmy does it right here. You can duplicate the track you want to echo, and in the duplicate track, you can insert a rest wherever you want and however long to delay it enough to where it plays just out of step with the original track. And here's what I mean. If we solo just these two here, the distortion, track 7 and 8, the distortion guitars, and we play, let's see, listen to this. that delay you hear between the two tracks is what I'm talking about, because you can see between the two of them, or you saw like while it was playing, it's all the same notes. I kind of went from one track to the other while it was playing, but it's just that one is slightly behind the other due to that extra rest that he inserted at the beginning of the solo in the duplicate distortion guitar track. And you can play around with that sort of effect, I suppose, if you want to call it, in all kinds of ways, especially with the volume and the LR balance sliders here to make some really cool sounds if you're into composing MIDIs. Anyhow, getting back to the big picture, let's keep going. Alright, so after the guitar solo, there's a brief rock organ solo for a few measures, and then right here, the organ climbs up from C minor to F minor. So we've got a key change here, and this, let's see here, right here is where the organ and the distortion guitar sort of meet up, and they together bring us into the final chorus. So let's have a listen to that in the now new key of F minor here. Alright, so this is all pretty much the same sort of layout, if you want to call it, or arrangement as the earlier chorus, except obviously, as we just mentioned, we're in a different key now. So I want to just listen to the strings here for a moment, though. Let me find my place. If we go to the string arrangement and solo it here, let's have a listen to this. Yeah, there's a lot more going on in this particular part than there was at the beginning. Now, some of the notes, there's like some dissonant ones that are thrown in there, and there are these extra half notes here, as you can see, and I think of these as kind of springboards to the next chord. They sound fantastic, and just some incredible nuanced stuff right here that, again, it sounds good when you're listening to it in game, but you don't really, it's one of those things you don't realize is there until you actually go in and looking for this sort of thing. I don't know, maybe it's just like the musician brain in me, wanting to do that or whatever, but anyhow, let's go ahead and round off the whole thing here. Yep, and that's how it ends. A bit abruptly, but that's done to create that seamless transition for when the track automatically loops and starts over again in the game. And with that, there you have it. Hate Machine by James Paddock. And I suppose now that we've reached the end of the MIDI here, I think we've reached the end of the episode here. So thank you so much for watching. I know I went on and on about a lot here, but I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope you had fun, because I had a great time diving into this. I love musical stuff like this. So please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more stuff like this. And also, since this will be a regular series, comment below what sort of MIDIs you want to hear in this kind of format where we do these kind of deep dives and analysis type videos next. If you want to see a breakdown of how we did it here, let me know what you'd like to see it for, and I just might include it in a future episode. So again, thank you for watching. Until next time, This is Ray from the Phobos Amphitheater, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya!